Yeah. No, that for breakfast I had a big old plate of disappointment and Do you want me to roll anything? There's that guy who all he does is talk shit about chicken sandwiches, and in real life he's sitting there eating all the chicken sandwiches. You know what I mean? Like, I think that's the danger. Is there's no repercussions for like the statements you make regarding chicken sandwiches online. In real life, you talk shit about someone's favorite chicken sandwich, they're gonna punch you in the face.
It gets real quick.
Yeah, it gets real.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, I already know this conversation is just gonna be amazing. So, this podcast is untitled. And I think it's gonna be the untitled podcast.
Yeah.
So, my brother from another mother.
Yeah. Did you know, even though it's untitled, it has to have a subtitle at least?
It's subtitled The Untitled Podcast.
No, it's untitled. The Untitled Podcast.
Untitled. The untitled in quotes.
Untitled in quotes. Brackets. You gotta do the brackets, dude. The brackets are so in. Yeah. I don't even know if that's what they're called.
I think so.
We'll call them staples. They look like staples.
Yes.
Yeah.
Not heavy duty though. Short little legs though.
No, it's kind of like 2-3 sheets of paper max you're binding. Mm-hmm. You know, you're not putting trim on. Talking about putting trim on. You put some trim on in here.
I did. This place is trimmed out there too, right outside.
Dude, I just choking on water. No, this is
That's
amazing.
Some strange looking water.
What people don't realize, there's work going on right outside this door.
Right out there. They probably can't even hear it because we're in a sound treated room.
This is amazing.
We're in an official podcast studio.
I know this is your podcast, Dennis, but you know, how'd you get the inspiration to build this out this way? Because like this is nuts. I love it.
Well, I got the inspiration by building it for a whole nother purpose and having that not work out. So this was an engineer's room to a recording studio.
Yeah.
The music side of the business wasn't making sense where we're at, and so I took this over as my creative space, and things have evolved.
So, what are you most proud of? Because I know you, Dennis.
Mm-hmm.
You're like me. You're like my mom. We'll go to a restaurant. Nicest restaurant.
Mm-hmm.
We'll eat the meal.
Mm-hmm.
I can make that better at home. Which part of this aspect of this whole room did you DIY like the shit out of that you're most proud of? That, you know, there could have been easier ways, but you did it the Dennis way. Which one?
The thing that made it the podcast studio, all of these panels surrounding us, these sound panels were just a thought, an idea, processing in the back of my mind.
You didn't buy these?
I didn't buy these.
Okay.
No. This was just, I knew I could build sound panels for a long time, before I even had a video studio. And it happened. I proved it.
So what was the thing where you're like, damn, I could have done better?
Everything.
Worst question to ask you?
You knew what the answer was to that.
Ask me.
But I will say, the one thing, so I've had this office for a little while.
Yeah.
But the one thing that has probably recently shaped it the most is this table.
Yeah.
This was a restaurant table that I repurposed. I made it into a wood table that's meant to have scuffs and scars on it. I told Tanner, everybody's listening to this, hears me hitting the table.
Yeah.
And they hate me right now.
Yeah.
They're just cussing me out so hard.
The people listening?
Mm-hmm.
Dude, at least you have swing arms. Desk mic stands.
Oh, yeah. Oh, yeah. And these ones are actually doing better than I thought they would. I've had a lot of experience with very noisy, arms. And they've actually, I think, with your mixer that you brought in so graciously, I think I got a hum. So I'm sorry if you hear a hum right now. But I think I get rid of it in post.
Yeah.
So I'm going to edit that in post too, because you don't even know about it.
Dude, post. What? Let's talk about it.
Let's rewind first.
Let's go rewind.
Who are you?
I'm Cham.
Ain't nobody know you. Baby.
No.
Hopefully.
Okay, so,
I'm hoping more than Sioux Falls is watching this right now. Is what I'm saying.
Okay, so if people outside of Sioux Falls are watching this, thank you. I'm Cham. And, dude, it's so hard to, like, even, like, try to talk about.
All right, power of editing. Cue the video.
Cue the video.
Born in the jungles of Vietnam, Cham graduated from SDSU in 2013 with a degree in global studies and minors in German and philosophy. Like any Bachelor of the Arts, Cham ended up in an entry-level sales position cold calling hundreds of people a day for tech startup DocuTap. 25,000 cold calls, and 1 year later, Cham was promoted to photographer. After another year in the corporate world, Cham went freelance. These are his accolades.
I just really hope that, like, when people watch this, that they see the quality of the product and not see how bad I am at selling myself.
I just, that was a great video montage you just put right there.
Thank you.
Good job.
You know, it's...
You're going to have to send me that.
Let's
make sure we do that before we forget.
It's been weird. Because, like, I started out in music. You know, like, what this booth is, like, to me, like...
Me too.
Like,
through my teens and like early 20s, like
were you a rock star?
I got a backpack full of like guitar shit right underneath this right now.
I mean that.
I'm gonna start making music for my own videos.
Oh, like the instrumentals?
Yeah.
That's the way.
Yeah, dude.
Ah.
I'm excited, but I haven't started that yet. But I'm going to.
Dude.
But back to you.
You got it's right there.
It's right there. I'm just gonna do it all in here. This room's amazing.
So I started making beats, right?
Mm-hmm.
On Fruity Loops, like when I was 14.
Mm-hmm.
Whenever, no, 7th grade. However old a normal human is when they're in 7th grade. So I was making beats.
12 to 13, probably.
Yeah. That sounds about right.
Yeah.
I was a little slow. I might have been
14.
Yeah. Let's just say that.
You were 17.
So like sophomore year of high school, I sold my beat to my first beat on MySpace to a rapper in Minneapolis, $600. I'm 15, right?
And you're a professional
producer. Like I was like, wow, that's crazy. And I was just like from making beats on like the home computer. And then like, dude, like the rush, like that feeling. I've been chasing that feeling ever since. So it's like, for me, it's like, if I can make something out of nothing on my computer, and then that like converts to like me feeding myself, like that's what I do. That's what I like.
Amazing.
It's like it doesn't matter the medium. Like I've done it all. You know, I've done photos, I've done video, I've done audio, I've done like CGI.
Did some amazing photos earlier. Like
yeah, we just did a shoot today.
You made our space so much cooler than we can make it, bro. You killed that shoot. Like for real, the pictures that were coming out of the back screen on this guy's camera looked like it was in a magazine.
Can I be honest with you?
Yes.
I made it my goal to not have to edit my pictures just out of necessity. Like, the fact that you said the back of the camera pictures looked good, that made, like, that just, like, to me, like, as a photographer, that's the biggest compliment you can give somebody.
Right. It looked done. It looked ready.
You know, like, yeah.
And I was in here, and when they seen those pictures, I could hear how excited they were. Like, they thought they were ready too already. You know what I mean?
That's the best part.
Yeah.
It's like, dude, for real, just, like, that's where I wanted to get. Like, right before you had said, let's rewind, was now we're back to post. I'm trying to spend less time in post. That's the weirdest thing.
You're trying to spend less time, but you're trying to do way more things.
Yeah. You know, I say that, but I literally just spent 200 hours in post for one video. So that might be why I'm trying to spend less time in post. Cause like
out of necessity, once again.
Out of necessity, because it's unhealthy the amount of time I spend in post.
Mm-hmm.
Like it really is. Like it's so unhealthy. Like so many projects die in post. Like post is where projects die. Is what like I've learned.
That. I feel that very, very.
Rest in
close to
peace
myself.
of all of our projects that are in post.
Mm-hmm.
Makes me say it. So have you gotten to that point? Because for me, I'm bailing on personal projects, like 10 a year. I'm at that rate.
I'm trying to focus on personal projects.
Yeah.
Because right now we're in a spot where we've got a couple big projects coming up, but I have a little bit of time before those pop off. And so, like, I'm trying to focus on myself and my own personal projects before I run out of time.
Yeah.
So, like, I'm trying to build up a YouTube channel right now.
Yeah.
Learning some more post tricks where I'm talking to myself in podcast or whatever. Like I knew I could do that stuff. I just need to take the time to do it.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, yeah, right now it's all about personal projects because I'm not going to have time for them here coming up quick.
Yeah. I learned, like, I call that time, like, the lull between big projects. Like, when...
Quiet before the storm.
Yeah, where, like, because... Like, if you're not making work at that time, that's where you can just lose it. You can just lose it.
You get obsessed with trying to go find work.
Yeah, and then, like... Or, like, you just freeze. You know what I mean? Like, if for me, if I don't have work, if I don't make my work, I'll just freeze. I start beating myself up. You know what I mean? Like, I don't have work.
Right.
I have no value in society. So that's, like... I'm so glad that, like... You take a certain approach, like, I gotta make that self-value, but,
Yeah. And, like, I externalize a lot of it, too. So, like, sometimes a lot of that studio build happened for me, like, trying to externalize that problem for myself.
Yeah.
And it took, like, okay, I need to look at myself before I go try to fix something or build something or improve something. Maybe I'm the problem. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So that's really hard for me to do that.
Yeah.
I just want to I want to outwork it.
Yeah.
And sometimes you got to, like, slow down and you got to take the time to process some stuff, you know?
Yeah. So, to the point where it's like, you know, like, when you're in that phase and you're working on so many things, I used to beat myself up when I wouldn't finish things in that time. Because, you know, you start working on something personal, and then a gig comes in, and then you drop it. You always drop your personal stuff for the gig, right?
Yep.
That's just how our lives are. So when I would do that, I felt so bad thinking about all the abandoned projects. So then, like, just like probably in the last couple of years, I made it my goal that in that lull, instead of trying to finish anything, it was just to, like, learn a process instead each time.
And you're like killing that. You're, like, making use of that.
That's my favorite thing now. It's like I've stopped being a completionist. I've stopped thinking that the only thing that matters is finishing something. I've switched my mindset to, it's like, I want to try something different. And, like, most of the time I'm failing. There's so many, like that's why I'm like, I bailed on 10 personal projects this year already. I don't know, what are we...
Did you learn from that, though? You know what I'm saying?
That's the only...
Like, I was just talking to my 10-year-old yesterday. Like, you could totally fail at something, but if you do it again, you might be a little bit better. And keep failing until you get it.
Like 3 or 4 times before I realize I learned something.
And when you're trying to do something creative, you almost have to fail more. You got to take more risks.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because even though there's really nothing new, you're still trying to come up with something new.
Yeah.
Your own interpretation of new.
Or, like, enough to, like, satisfy that ego where it's like, all right, I spun it just enough where it's like, I put a little bit of my seasoning on top. You know what I mean? Like, it's... I'm sure chefs deal with this all the time. Could you imagine being a chef? Could you imagine being like, all right, I gotta make a menu. I gotta make a menu.
But anybody who comes in thinks they can go home and do it better.
Always.
But it ain't true. Good luck. It might take you... You might make something close, but it's going to take 10 years before you could actually get it right. Like, not like an Applebee's chef, but like a real chef.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like somebody who
where it's like
has a craft.
Your name, it's your first name. People know you by your first name.
Right.
Like, I think that's a chef thing.
There's two I could think of in town.
Chef Lance.
Yeah.
Chef Emily. Chef Dominique.
Mm-hmm.
Like, I'm like, damn, I want to be known as like, what?
See, that's the problem.
Chef Sam. You know, like,
but then you're putting yourself into a box.
This is true.
As a creative person, like, if you find yourself in a box, how long does it take before you start trying to like break the walls down of the box?
You know, I used to be like, I'm so outside of the box. The box doesn't exist for me. You know what I mean? Like, right. I just remember like getting into the creative process, like just starting. I was like, I'm gonna be the most original, and be the most creative. I'm gonna be the best at everything.
Mm-hmm.
You're never gonna be happy.
Huh?
You can't be happy that way.
There's always somebody better.
You can never be happy that way.
Always somebody has a bigger budget who could just do more than you.
Yeah, I don't know. Like, I used to like just copy a lot. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I was never happy because then you're always like, it doesn't look like this person. You know what I mean?
This person you're trying to look like.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So like now my process is like, I do like tangential, like studying instead.
Mm-hmm.
So like, for example, like when I was learning CGI, I was just like, instead of watching finished products,
mm-hmm.
I would just research the tech and like the why, which is the worst way.
As far as like the software?
Or like the how. Yeah. So I was like, instead of like just copying this, I was like, I can't just do that. I gotta figure out how to get there without doing it this way.
So instead of like saying, how do I create this 3D model?
Yeah.
You're trying to say, how do I better understand this software and do whatever the hell I want to do with it?
Not necessarily. That's just being a bonehead most of the time and being like, well, like this you're gonna get into like the, I don't even know how to describe it, just how like insane I am, right? Because like, if I want to learn something, I'll go to YouTube, right?
Me too.
And then I'll be like, dude, this one has 1 million views.
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna watch this one, and then figure out a different way than that. And it's the worst.
That's amazing.
It's the worst way to learn anything.
But
it's literally the worst way to learn anything because the most viewed video is clearly the fastest, the easiest way. But like inside my brain, I'm like, this has to be harder.
Mm-hmm.
Something needs to be more difficult about this process.
You think the art has to be a struggle?
It has to
be
hard.
It is?
I'm like, it's not enjoyable if it's not hard. You like. I'm such a masochist that the process has to be painful.
The idea of like cutting and pasting something from somebody else to, you know, where you used to do that. Yeah. But now you've outgrown that.
I don't even know if outgrown.
You want to know, you would rather understand how it works than
I'm more obsessed with like the how.
So maybe not even about the software, it's just theory, kind of.
Yeah, I like theory.
Like you're kind of like in like music theory. Like you have a music background. Like
I'm like those guys who it's like, you can take an iPhone and take a picture and it'll be amazing. You can put it on a billboard, but I'm gonna build this camera out of tree bark, and then I'm gonna melt some sand and make the lens, and then I'm gonna mine some silver halide to make the film. And then I'm gonna, then I'm gonna have a baby, so then I can raise it to the perfect model adult I want. For one photo.
So that whole process right there, like I had to build the studio and waste a whole bunch of time and money. Yeah. In order to find out about myself, that's how I am too.
Dude, it's the process. We love the process.
I got to make it more complicated than it has to be. Like this fucking table. Yeah. You know what I mean? Like I could have just like painted a table. Like nah, I need a wood table. Yeah. I'm gonna go buy a wood table. I'm gonna hand rub it with oil.
Dude, it's how we
It's
how we feel any sense of power in our lives, Dennis. Yeah. You know what I mean? It's like I gotta make things so particular that I know I did it. You know what I mean? Like,
right.
You know what I mean? Like.
But now I take pride in these sound panels that I spent so much time on. Probably spent as much money as I could have just bought them.
You know, that's.
But it is what it is.
I think that's what probably makes you really good at what you do, though. Is that like you taking the long route just so you understand the full aspect of what you're actually doing, so then you can improve that, like the whole process, instead of just learning one way where you're stuck in a groove. You know, like I hate feeling stuck. That's what I like about node and layer based editing, like Photoshop and like Resolve and Blender. It's just like it's all equation based. It's always like input, output. What's your parameters? You know, I love that. And like I used to just hate math, but now it's
math is kind of in everything though.
Yeah. And it's so crazy because it's like I look at like a node tree of like what I'm doing. Then you look at it, you see over here, it's like, oh, it's like a recipe. Here's the ingredients.
Right.
And then this part where they all mix together, it's like, oh yeah, a little bit of this at this time, a little bit of this at this time, and that like goes to this. Add heat here. Garlic tastes like this now. You know what I mean? And you save some fresh garlic for this point of the recipe, so that has a different flavor profile. So like, I don't know. I get so like that's what like makes me happy. Is seeing how complex things can get. Almost taking it to the level that most people aren't even willing to. That doesn't like. Oh, I think I figured out how to describe my process. You see the point of diminishing return? Blow past it. Blow past it as fast and as hard as you can. Your value is nothing, Sam. You know what I mean?
Okay. So now that leads us back to how I was saying I try to outwork and out-externalize everything when I got problems. Yeah. But that way of thinking right there, how do you tear it apart? Yeah. You can't even do that with yourself. You almost gotta let shit just be. No. Rather than like trying to force, you add heat here, you add this, you tweak this, you know what I'm saying? Yeah. Like, and that's what I kept trying to do to find fulfillment and find some closure and like all of this shit, you know what I mean? Like building all this, like all the lead up to actually being able to turn it into a business and have people doing photo shoots out there. Yeah. But like,
The weird thing is, like, you only get this analytical about it afterwards. When you're in it, you're in it.
100%.
I bet you when you built that wall, it felt like 2 minutes. Like, there's probably times I flew by that you blacked out.
Yeah.
You know?
Like, even, like, setting up this studio, this podcast setup. Yeah. Like, the other day, I was trying some different setups, and, like, time disappeared. Yeah. And that's actually kind of... So I love that flow state. Everything I do that I love requires the flow state. Yeah. So that's what I was going to call this podcast, the FloWWCAST.
Dude, you should. I've just been learning about it.
So it's like, it still might be. Yeah. I don't know yet. I'm going to record 10 episodes. Yeah. Before I even post anything or anything. So, still untitled. But, like, editing. It's all about that flow state to me. Like, Tanner had a different thought.
Really?
His thoughts were more like he wants to sprint and then go do something else. Okay. Whereas myself, like, I can't do that. I gotta sprint to get locked in, but then I stay there. And if I break it, I generally lose it. Yeah. You know what I mean? So, like, I could just stay locked in for hours. Hours and hours and hours. Not even getting up, not anything. Like, so I was messing around in here and I thought it was like 2 o'clock. Yeah. And Kate called me and it was like after 5, it was almost 6 o'clock. Yeah. I'm like, holy shit. Like, I had all kinds of stuff I was going to do and time just disappeared. I love that, but I hate that too.
It's amazing.
It's amazing.
Best feeling in the world. Like, but it's not good when you have deadlines and when you have, like, mad responsibilities. Like, it's such a...
But it's that creative. It's so creative. That's where you do all your creative magic. You know what I mean?
It's been like... I've been chasing that feeling in, like, my extracurricular activities, too. I built a racing sim. Yeah. And I was like, I'm going to try to play the hardest game. The most realistic game. So I'm playing a rally sim right now, right? Mm-hmm. One wrong move, game over.
Flipping off the side of the road.
You just wasted, like, And you have to fix your car with the money in the game. So I'm about to run out of money if I keep crashing my car. You know what I mean? So, like...
That sounds very familiar in real life.
It's so crazy, because, like, to get in a flow state in that game, completely different than getting in a flow state for editing. Like,
yeah.
For editing, and I don't know if it's just me being a procrastinator or whatever, but for editing, like, all right, what's the temperature of the room? What's the lighting of the room? What's the smell of the room? What music is playing in the background? What's the level of that?
It's almost like an intimate moment with yourself. You're like trying to get yourself.
Editing is so like, oh man, I probably shouldn't be saying this, but like some projects, I'll tell people it's like, yo, I need 3 days to edit it. 2.5 of those days is the process, which is me eating snacks. It's me watching unrelated YouTube videos. It's me, like, cutting my cat's nails.
But when it snaps.
But that last burst, when I'm in flow state, once I get there, that is the most, like...
If the cat's nails weren't taken care of, the magic wouldn't happen.
You know what I mean? Like, if I didn't pluck that one unibrow that's coming in, you know, like that, like... And then, boom, hit flow state. But the thing about the racing sim, almost automatically...
Adrenaline.
I sit down, boom.
You add adrenaline and it's instant. Yeah, because like...
How do I add adrenaline to editing? Just put a loaded gun, like, on my computer and be like,
so you're on the, like, what, 3rd story? So you just open your window.
Look over the edge.
You go on the roof. You just go edit on the roof. But, like, I ride mountain bikes.
Yeah.
And if you're not in the flow state there, you go off the trail, you hit a tree or some shit, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
Adrenaline instantly kicks you in there. If you're in danger, and if you're in a racing sim, and you know if you fuck up, you're going to crash, your body doesn't know you're not in a real car. Especially because it's a dope sim.
It's a sick sim.
So, your body has no idea. That's how stress, like, kills people. Because if you're in a state of low stress all the time, your body doesn't know if you're getting chased by a lion or if you're fucking, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So when you're under stress, your body doesn't work as... It shuts down processes because there's some shit going down, you know what I mean? So it's like, your body doesn't know the difference between reality and the situation that your mind's in.
Yeah.
It's all about adrenaline.
Yeah,
you put your life on the line, it's really easy to get in the flow state. What are you working on, Tanner?
Absolutely nothing, Dennis, because we are on set.
Oh, yeah! Here you go, Cham. Thanks, buddy. One Take Creative Studios.
We got sights, we got flash, we got cameras, we got lights. Book now!
All right, and we're back.
Ow. You fucking clap sometimes.
Even in this non-echo room, I still hear a little bit of echo on that one. It's a good clap.
Power of the clap.
Making a clap.
Mega clap.
Yeah, so we're talking about flow state.
Yeah.
And we got broken out of our flow state by recording limits.
Yeah.
And commercials and whatnot.
Do you know why recording limits exist? I found this out a couple of years ago and it blew my mind.
I want to say I've learned it and I forgot it already.
It's a really weird arbitrary thing. It's taxes. Like internationally and things in the United States, like cameras are taxed at a different rate than camcorders, right? So if a camera can shoot more than 30 minutes uninterrupted, it's a camcorder. And then it has a different tax rate.
So the company loses a few cents on that camera or something like that?
Something like that.
Because I know there's a few cameras that are starting to pop that don't have that.
Yeah, and they're like, you know what?
I think they're like Panasonic.
Yeah, they're like, fuck it, it's a camcorder now. You know what I mean? Like that. So
and if it's only a difference on a few cents or whatever per body that they sell,
charge a little bit more for it.
Right.
Yeah. So
right.
that is so like because we exist as creators in the transition from like DSLR, like from photo and video merging. We're the generation of hybrids. You know what I mean?
Right.
So because of the weird antiquated laws on cameras, that's why time limits exist on mirrorless and DSLRs.
There's a lot of weird things with that too, like video codecs and stuff like that. Just weird little
like
things.
I did video for so long before understanding any of that stuff.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like.
And really, it doesn't really matter for us.
No.
But there's a lot of silliness.
Dude, I picked up like a lot of like. It's so weird because like, for us, like, think about the process. It doesn't matter. Like, things don't matter. Like, doing things in like established processes. That's why we get it weird about our processes. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But like, when I started working with like agencies and like things like people like that who like expect processes, that's kind of like the weirdest adjustment.
And they have a team workflow, their own process that they're already used to.
Where it's like,
that might be completely alien to you.
Yeah, where it's like, hey, we need this in 10-bit 422. It needs to be gray card. You need to, like every. And
Fuck, I gotta go get a monitor. I got 420.
I'm over here like, dude, I don't even know what this means.
Nobody even knows what 422 is.
Out of necessity,
I need a monitor.
I gotta figure it out. Like, it's always. Do you find that your growth is usually out of necessity? Because, like, for me, it's always out of necessity.
No. Well, necessity for myself.
Yeah.
I get bored.
Yeah.
Very, very easily.
Yeah.
So, like, if there's just, that's like the huge catalyst and what I want to talk about on this podcast is people who recognize the old way of doing, like, right now, the old way is dying in like so many different areas. And so like, I'm really interested in the people that are recognizing that and like looking at the old way and realizing, I don't know what's up with those water bottles, bro. Those are sad. Yeah, people recognize that the old way, like, there's some good things about the old ways of doing things, but they don't all carry over.
Yeah.
Like, we're in a weird time. Like, my kids' lives are going to be completely different than mine. Like, I'm an old guy, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
So, I hang on to a lot of shit from my past that holds me back. But things are changing.
Yeah.
And, like, the fact that we get to do what we do, that wasn't even possible 20 years ago. You had to go work for one of those agencies.
Yeah.
Or a big movie company.
Yeah.
Now you just buy a camera and say you're a photographer. Which takes away from, like, people, like, that have put in 10,000 hours in video and 10,000 hours in photo. You know what I mean? Like, you guys seen the video earlier. That's video game stat sheet, like you've put in the time to achieve that mastery level, dude. You know what I mean?
It's weird because like I think about this a lot. I think about what we're talking about a lot. Like getting into it at the beginning. Mm-hmm. Like when I was starting, it was the transition from film photography to digital. Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And I just remember all the pushback. It's always pushback to change. It's always like,
totally.
It'll never look as good. It doesn't make any sense. There's no soul in the photography. So then, like, I think about all those things that I faced, or like that I had to listen to or deal with, like getting into everything I've gotten into, right? Mm-hmm. So, like, for me, that like drives me all the time to like. Because, like, a lot of what we do is really egotistical,
No doubt about it.
It has to be.
100%.
You have to think you're the best, right? You don't succeed if you don't. Mm-hmm. And that's just a fact.
Right.
So, like, with that, though, the thing that I've been trying to shed is becoming that old-ass gatekeeping, you got to do it like this guy. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. And so, like, that's why I always shy away from, like, when people ask me things, or when people say, Sam, how should I do this? Right. I'm one of those, like, philosophical guys where it's like, yo, there's no right way. Just do it. If it feels right, then do it.
Right.
So, like, I'm trying to be more like that. Because there's so many people that discourage me along the way. Right. And I'm like, what if I can be a voice that instead of discouraging creativity, I encourage it?
Right.
You know what I mean? So like, for me, that's how I look at process now, where it's like I used to be so judgmental. It's from frail ego too. It's like from seeing part of yourself in someone else. You know, like that's the hardest thing. Is when
you see all of your faults in other people.
Yeah.
All the things you don't like about other people are usually unless someone's a real asshole.
Yeah.
But I mean, like when you're judging somebody.
Yeah, most of it comes from within.
Yes. Yeah.
So like I used to be so insecure and see like other people taking photos. And my ego would be like, no, I'm the only one that takes photos in this city. Right. I'm the best. Right. How could you don't even love photos the way I love photos. You don't even study film the way I love film. You know what I mean? And then now it's just like, dude, like, just like why? There's so much energy invested into being a hater.
Totally.
Yeah.
Totally.
So like
more energy. You know what I mean? Because when you're doing creative shit, like, that almost gives you energy.
Yeah.
When you're hating, that takes your energy away.
Oh, man.
And takes your creativity away.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, unless you get really creative about hating. Now, that's a whole subgenre in itself. And, like, look, I love...
Battle raps is, like, creative hating, right?
Well, like, not even hating. I don't want to say creative hating. Because I'm about to say Tanner's name, right? And I don't think Tanner's a hater. I think he has strong opinions, right? And he's creative with it. He knows how to get people fired up.
I will admit, like, some of his comments that he leaves, like, I only got Facebook and Instagram.
Yeah.
I'm not even on Snapchat, so I don't even know that world. That's a whole nother world.
Yeah.
But some of his comments, like, are fucking hilarious.
Yeah, he knows how to get people
totally
excited.
Asshole comments, but, like, we know Tanner.
Yeah.
We know he's not an asshole.
Yeah.
We know he's good at talking.
Yeah.
He's good at making some noise, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
But
what my point is that he's really good at it. And I'm not saying that in a negative way at all. You know what
and he's not a negative person.
No.
So, like, what you're saying, like, it's not negative, but it's just, it's comedy.
It's comedy.
Like, and that's the thing, like, I still get into trouble with my wife, Kate.
Yeah. Oh, dude.
Because, like, I have a comics mindset.
Yeah.
Like, I grew up loving stand-up comedy, watching Richard Pryor and Eddie Murphy and George Carlin.
Yeah.
Like, these really polarizing comics.
Yeah.
Who nothing's off limits for a laugh.
Yeah.
Even if you don't mean it. So I say, like, some things that are totally not what I think.
Yeah.
But it's just a joke. It's just a comedy's mindset. But if people don't think like that, not everybody thinks it's anything for a laugh. You know what I mean?
Well, like, the thing about comedy is, like, doesn't translate to digital very well.
Not at all.
You need context. You need delivery.
Context. Yes.
You need,
And one comic could say something that
you always need context.
Is terrible, but it's hilarious. And another comic say the exact same thing, and you want to fucking boo that guy off the stage.
It's like,
you know,
that. I think that's what good comedy is, though. It's looking at the most fucked up parts of humanity and then laughing at it.
Right.
You know what I mean? Because it's so absurd.
Right.
That's where the joke is. It's the absurdity that humanity can be this way.
Well, yeah. And then you have to make an absurd remark to deal with it.
Yeah.
You can't use
comedy
logic.
is like a human coping mechanism that people, like the people who get offended by it, don't understand what the process is.
And like you hear this about like the people who have the worst, like cops, have the worst sense of humors. Because they see the most fucked up things every day.
Yeah.
So, like, they got really twisted sense of humors because they're exposed to it. People who just go to an office every day who don't see, like, traumas and all that, like, it might be harder for them to get into that coping.
I think you have to be desensitized.
Mindset, you know?
Yeah, a little bit desensitized for
and that's just like a very blanket statement, you know what I mean? But
we're not professors in psychology.
You're not.
Past life Dennis was.
No, probably not. No. I'm way too dense.
Oh no, man. I see it. Dude, so
Do you
what?
believe in past lives?
I don't know. It's hard to make a hard stance on things that are so abstract for me.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, I like to not make grand statements about things I don't know.
It's impossible. Yeah.
You know
You're
what I
just
mean?
guessing.
Yeah, like
Unless you've actually died and seen the afterlife, it's a guess.
You know,
50-50.
I'm like, some people are so sure about what happens after death,
Mm-hmm.
and I'm like, I wish I could be that sure.
Right.
You know, like that's got to be a good way to go to sleep every night. I mean, like, if I die, I'm going to heaven. You know what I mean? Like, but for me, it's like, yo, how come no one has talked to me about what it's actually like? Or no one's like, yo, Sam, I'm in heaven. This is a dream. But I'm sending you a message. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. It's kind of weird, but like, because a lot of people from my background do believe in previous lives
Mm-hmm.
and stuff like that. And my biggest question is like, what's the fucking point if you don't remember any of it?
Some people do remember it though.
Yeah, well, you know what I mean? Like, a lot, like, the way it's been described to me is like, look, you know, in like the Buddhist way of karma, it's like, look, whatever you're reincarnated as, it's based on your past deeds, but it's not like you're gonna know. So, like, to me, that takes a lot of, like, it adds a lot of, like, what I call destiny and fate into, like, someone's life.
Instead of feeling responsible for your own.
Yeah, and, like, I'm such a, like, a control freak that I don't like that idea that I'm out of control.
Mm-hmm.
So, like,
I feel that.
You know
I
what I mean?
totally feel that.
I'm like, you're telling me no matter what I do, it's already predetermined?
I
Like,
create
don't
my own
like,
destiny.
Yeah, I don't like that feeling. I think that's a creative in me.
Do you feel like everything happens for a reason though?
I wouldn't say that. I say cause and effect. I'm not a reason type person. Just because I know how unreasonable things can be.
See, you made the joke, like, you actually did go to school for, like,
Philosophy.
Yeah,
and
I
shit.
did. Like, so, I mean, you've delved into the process of
Too
thinking
much,
about all this
yeah.
stuff, you know what I mean? So, I think you should give yourself a bit of credit on that. You do.
I don't know. I hate to.
You kind of do know what you're talking about,
hate
like,
to.
and you're a thinker, so.
Yeah, no.
Yeah.
So, yeah, like about that, like, reason. It's hard for me to think of reason as like, because reason always comes in when you look at something from a
Hindsight's 20/20.
Hindsight, yeah, from hindsight. Reason comes from hindsight. I see.
Mm-hmm.
That's where cause and effect to me is a little bit easier to grasp because I know if I do something, there will be a result.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? And even if I don't do something, there will be a result. But there is an
Right.
action or inaction involved in that. Whereas reason is the reverse of that, where it's looking at things and then assigning the why.
Mm-hmm.
And sometimes that's not subjective.
Sometimes you get to create your own why.
You gotta create the reason. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Where it's like, and I think it's another control thing. Where it's like, just the way I view things, it's like, I know if I karate chop this table right now, this laptop will fall down, then it's gonna punch me in the face. Like I said.
It's solid wood, bro.
Social-
Come on, I put my soul into this thing.
Our social interactions are dictated by the fact of how close am I to getting punched in the face, right? Cause and effect. See, that's just how I view the world. You know, where it's like,
Social media has ruined this for us.
yeah. So, like, for me, reason's hard because sometimes I'll fucking break a table in half and not have a reason. You know?
It's just how you live, bro.
Yeah, bro.
It's the creative.
Yeah. But I think at the end of
That's the creative, but also the rock star in you.
He's breaking tables.
Wrecking that hotel room, you know what I'm saying?
Oh, yeah. Man, you know...
So you don't ever make any music anymore?
The last musically thing I did was for this video we did for Can Barn.
Mm-hmm.
And it was like the last Kaizen project. It's probably what I'm most proud of.
I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, we did 15 original songs for one video.
Mm-hmm.
So we produced 15 beats, wrote 15 snippets of songs, and we recorded them all one day. Me, Gordon, and Ryan, right? And then we shot 15 different styles of commercials, and then we cut it down and made like just a ridiculous video. And,
So what were you doing on the music end of it?
I sing some of them.
Nice.
I do some writing on some.
All right. Hell yeah.
All the production is Gordon and Ryan, though.
So you ever, when you were making beats before,
Yeah.
what were you using? Just computer software only, like the keyboard on your computer, or you like
when
play
I was
any
starting,
musical instruments?
I used MIDI instruments.
Okay.
Such as like digital pianos and drum pads.
Like a keyboard, and then you
Yeah.
just change whatever sounds you want to use.
I always was cheap, so I'd buy like the MPK series or the M Audio. Basically, it was like a keyboard that you USB into your computer, and then like it talks to the program and makes it's all digital. But then like I was so cheap, I get the keyboard that has like 8 drum pads too, so that I could do the drums and then sequence the melodies really easily. Because like a lot of people just like, and I don't know music at all. I don't know notes. I don't know how to read notes or anything. So I was one of those people that would just like hit record and then like play notes. I'm like, okay, that sounds good. All right, that sounds good. And no music theory involved. So.
You sold beats from it.
But it's all beats from it. Yeah. So that was like, I don't know. That's such a weird phase in life too. But.
No plans on getting back into that?
Not really.
No.
It's just because, like, if I got back into music, I'd want to do it at a really high level. And I know that's not where my strength is.
You don't have enough time for that right now?
No. I would love to have time for that, honestly.
You'd want to do it to a point where you'd almost have to spend
10,000 hours.
a full-time
Give me 3
time involvement, where...
Yeah. I'm like... I'm a really big proponent of 10,000 hours on anything.
Right. I fully believe that. That's why I haven't started yet, because I know it's a rabbit hole that I could get sucked into.
Yeah, because like for me, I had to cap music. Like, like there's only so many things you can put your time into. So music has moved from things I enjoy, the process of making, to the thing that I enjoy consuming. You know what I mean? Which I separate those two things a lot.
That's smart.
Yeah. Especially when I'm in the process. If I'm making videos, I'm not watching videos. If I'm making photos, I'm not looking at photos. I just can't. Do
you do that because you don't want to be influenced? Or because you don't?
I do that because it always takes away from, like, the pre-production for me. Like, watching stuff is a very big part of pre-production for me. So if I would start the process, I can't watch something else because it will give me extra input that wasn't part of the pre-planning.
Kind of like method acting or method producing.
Yeah.
Method directing.
Well, I just gotta get into know exactly what my results are gonna be. Except for the bonsai video, that was the first exploratory paid piece of content I've made.
Well, and you learned so much just to create that video.
And it could only happen during COVID because, we were all locked down. I was forced to shoot and produce something with very minimal actual being able to go out and shoot. You know what I mean? It was all green screen.
Right.
The whole thing was green screen. So, like, that was the first time where someone paid me and I looked them in the eye and I said, I don't know what the end result's going to look like. And that was scary.
Turned out pretty good, though.
Turned out, dude, the funniest part is, I was over at Ryan's doing pre-production, and I wrote down, like, 6 grandiose ideas before even learning that Blender was a program, really. Like, before even downloading the program. I had these ideas, right? And they're just vague. We went and looked at that piece of paper after. I hit 4 of them. In a weird way. And we buried that piece of paper before we even started shooting. Because I was like, I can't add to it. I can't take away from it.
Right.
This is my goal. And my process is so weird where I, like, cemented it in my mind and then I threw the paper away. And Ryan had to find it later. You know what I mean?
Oh, really?
Yeah. So, like, when he found it, he's like, dude. He's like, look what I found in my notebook. I was like, what is that? He's like, these are the notes you took when we were doing pre-production. And he's like, you hit 4 of the 6 ideas. And I was like, dude, I don't even remember writing those down. You know what I mean? So it's...
You just...
Like,
it was the vision.
Yeah, I ingrained the vision in my head. Like,
right.
that's the weird part about my process is, like, with that video, like, it was the first time not knowing what I was going to do.
Mm-hmm.
But somehow it all came together back to, like, this weird pre-idea I had before, like, starting the process. So those
right.
ideas are always in there. It's just the process pulled them out.
That reminds me, so before I even met you, before we went to Kaizen, me and Tanner were talking about one day owning a video studio.
Yeah.
I was like, we were talking about it. I was like, you know, it'd be awesome if we had walls on wheels. We built any set we wanted.
Yeah.
And then, like, what, a year and a half later, we're talking about a video for the opening of this place.
Yeah.
To you,
yeah.
who shot that, so thank you, by the way.
You're welcome.
And you come up with the idea of, what if we got these flats? I didn't even know what flats were when you said that.
Yeah.
I was like, oh, walls on wheels.
You're like, this has been there. You're
Yeah,
like, this has
it's been there. I get to mark that off my list now.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's like so crazy how it works out.
Yeah. It's so crazy to think of, like, how, like, ideas pop up
Mm-hmm.
and how they can change and the application of what you thought you were going to use the idea for changes.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
And, like, it makes me feel crazy, but I feel like there's a Rolodex of ideas in my brain that I can pull from whenever, like, a client hits me up. It's like, oh, Sam, this is our brand. This is what we want to do. This is what we want the impact of the piece to be.
Mm-hmm.
I go back and I'm like, look, I thought of something like this before. Let's execute on it.
And you can do that instantly. Like, that was what I learned about you the most at Kaizen was, like, your ability to go into that Rolodex when you're talking to somebody in real time.
Yeah.
And come up with a solution to their problem.
Dude, it's
because you've been there. You know what I mean?
Do you want to know where that's from?
Where?
No one's asking where that's from. So when I was in middle school, Jay-Z was my hero. And when I watched the first interview with him, he was like, I don't write any of my raps. Mm-hmm. It's like, I memorize everything. Mm-hmm. So I did it on the street corner selling drugs, memorize all my raps. Mm-hmm. Then we get to the booth, you execute. You spit it one time type stuff. So, dude, I took that to an extreme. And in college, I didn't write a single damn note, dude. I went through college without taking notes, without studying, without even reading 70% of the assigned reading.
So what, you just memorized?
I memorized everything. But the way I memorize things is that, like, it's like bullet points, just key things, and then I try to build, like, my bullshit ability to connect those points.
Okay.
So, like, my head is like a big Rolodex of big word bubbles, and it's insanity in there.
So you build a whole bunch of associations, basically?
Yeah, it's like...
Like, I've heard of, like, people using methods to memorize things, and I have a horrible memory.
I do it in rhythm.
I'm so bad.
Like, I always tap. I'm always tapping. And that's, like, if you see me tapping or, like, my hand down or in a car, or, like, when I have peace, usually when I have peace, I'm tapping or I'm trying to memorize something. It's really weird about me. I'm, like, and it's a double-edged sword because I fuck up, it's with me forever. It eats away. It destroys me when I fuck up because I don't forget any part of that.
And you probably relive those a lot more than you relive your
wins,
too.
Yeah, because
being
like
a creative
that,
person, like,
yeah, that's how you learn is you beat
like,
yourself up because you don't want to feel that ever again.
And even like, I've learned to do it not even like in a way that's like beating myself up, just being honest.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I know. Yeah, everybody says it looks good or good enough.
Yeah.
But I know I could do better.
Yeah.
Like, so it's not me saying, oh, I completely suck. It's just me saying I could be better.
Yeah.
I can improve.
Yeah.
You know.
That is so dangerous. Because, like, it creates good results.
What are you working on, Tanner?
Absolutely nothing, Dennis, because we are on set.
Oh, yeah! The highs are high. Here you go, Sam. Thanks, buddy. Because it's not always me.
One Take Creative Studios.
We got sights, we got flats, we got cameras, we got lights. Book now!
You know what I mean? You can't improve if you're not looking for flaws. Dude, Kaizen was literally, we're looking for flaws all the time. That's what Kaizen means. Mm-hmm. What a terrible, terrible name for a business.
No, it's. I think it's maybe, I don't know about the name, but the philosophy.
Yeah.
Like, I think everybody should live their life like that.
Yeah.
We should be looking at all the things that we're doing
to improve
and see if we can just do a little bit better.
Yeah.
It doesn't have to be perfect yet.
Maybe
we could try it.
Maybe with like 10% take a break.
Yeah.
Because that, like,
and that, like, I'm an extremist.
Yeah.
So I'm all or nothing, man.
Yeah.
But, like, that's good.
So how do you, because that's something that I'll never figure out. I don't think I'll ever figure out that balance of like self-care, and because I went blind. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, and that's the thing, Nicole, like, I went blind, right? I was still recovering. I went right back to work at Philly Flair. It made me go blind in my other eye. Mm-hmm. So then when I lost all of my vision, I had to stop for 6 months, right? Mm-hmm. And
let's do this. Ooh. But all right, so you went blind and start right back over.
So yeah, like, just like, that's like the hardest part about what we do, right? You know, I went blind, mm-hmm. and then still recovering, I go back to work because my other eye still works, and then I went blind there. Mm-hmm. So I lost vision for 6 months, and then, dude, like, I wasn't even like able to lift like 20 pounds when I was like, I called up the person leasing Kaizen, was like, I need this. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Like, I got Kaizen before I even knew what my health was, and like, I don't regret it, but I never healed. Like that. Right. That was the biggest wake up call for me, mm-hmm. in realizing that the way I approach my process and the way I approach creativity is so unhealthy.
It's you don't take it so far until
and like,
the
dude,
fuse is gonna burn.
And then like after closing Kaizen, you know, like, I got a job. Like, I was a videographer for about 2 months, mm-hmm. and I went so hard, my eyes started bleeding again. I almost went blind again. Like, I'm talking about 3 months ago, dude. Like, this is so recent. Mm-hmm. And so I had to quit the job. And like, what I'm most worried about right now, Dennis, like, and like, if anyone's at this point of the podcast and they made it this far, gotta wrap it up sometime, right? Is that like, dude, it's not worth it, man. I went blind, and then now at this point where it's like, you know, I'm fishing for jobs, mm-hmm. you know, and it's actually going well, which I'm surprised because, you know, you just never know. But it's going well, and like, the one thing Nicole tells me, it's like, if you don't prioritize your health, you're gonna die. You know? Mm-hmm. So like, dude, it's so crazy because like, I'm already like, I have three things on the table right now. I've already spent like the mental space for each one of those. I've come up with insane pitches for each one of those already. Mm-hmm. I've come up with spec videos I'm going to do. I've come up with photos I'm going to shoot. I've come up with films I want to make just before even an interview. Mm-hmm. And I'm like, why? They already want to hire me.
Right.
What am I doing? So like, I'm having this reality.
Making it a whole lot more complicated.
You know what I mean? So like, I'm having this reality check recently where it's like, stop devaluing yourself. Stop blowing past the point of diminishing return and take care of yourself. And like, that's been my focus this year. And honestly, like, I've been through a lot of craziness, but like, that mental struggle to say take care of yourself is the hardest thing I've ever had to do.
I can't even do it, and I'm like coming from the personal training space. Like, yeah, I've gotten like really, really, I keep saying soft.
Yeah.
Like, compared to where I used to be, there has to be balance.
Yeah.
Because like, if you're not healthy, your body's not going to work right. If your body doesn't work right, your mind ain't going to work right. You're not going to be creative. You know what I mean? So getting yourself right is going to make you be more creative. And it's going to let you just be more sustaining. But also, like, is there something, like, is it moving around a lot that causes your eyes to start stressing out? Or is it, like, when you're staring at, like, little screens on the camera? What causes that? You know what I mean?
It's the flow state.
The flow state?
It's me having no regard for my health when I'm producing. It's me saying, fuck it. It's going 100% all the time. Cylinders blasting. Like, I'm looking straight into the sun. I'm fucking moving way harder and faster than I should. I'm lifting things I shouldn't. It's because of all the adrenaline. I don't feel the pain. I don't realize that I'm breaking myself down doing this shit because I love it so much.
You feel it at the end of the day. When
I feel it at the end of the day, and I'm like, what did I do today? And it's like, you know, at that job, I was doing 5 shoots a day.
Same thing I do every day. That's fucking me up.
yeah. I was doing 5 shoots a day, carrying like a Ursa, you know, like Ursa, whatever, 8 or 6K. Like, they weigh like 50 pounds, dude. And then cinema lenses, V-mount batteries, audio, 3-leg spiked, a tripod that can handle like 100-pound weight head.
Plus,
you know?
dealing with all that stuff and just like the stress of dealing with all that expensive ass equipment.
Oh, man.
Getting it all out, putting it all away.
Yeah,
The next one.
dude. And like, you know, when we work for ourselves, I'm just like, yo, I'm going to charge out the ass and do 1 big shoot a month. I was doing 5 big shoots a day. I had so many projects rolling at once.
Right.
Yeah, it was crazy.
So the job search is going good.
Yeah.
You made a promo video.
Yeah. We watched
That
it
was a
earlier.
Banger.
Yeah.
What's next for?
You know, honestly, like, I've been really wanting to, like, get a house. I mean, you know, my health is, like, the biggest thing. And, you know, with, you know, Christy Numb doesn't fuck it all up in July, I can try marijuana.
I heard it's amazing.
I heard it's amazing, too. Because, like, you know, I have a lot of health stuff I'm dealing with. And, but yeah, ever since, like, the people spoke and they said, yo, we're going to smoke weed in South Dakota, I was like, great. Now I can have access to a form of medicine that hopefully doesn't make me, dude, like, I'm in pain all the time from my medication. It sucks.
And, like, usually the list of side effects from your typical medicine.
Dude, my diabetes medicine
It's
makes
worse
me
than
throw up,
fucking-
like, 3 nights a week.
Yeah. Like,
I'm in constant nausea from my
not good.
diabetes medicine. Yeah, it sucks. It's terrible.
Yeah.
So yeah, like, for me, next thing is I want to set my roots here. You know what I mean? Like, this is my home. This is my community. And it's like, my whole life I wanted to run away, find somewhere where I fit in. Why? I'd rather be here and make this place the place I want to be.
Right.
I'm thinking about running for government down the road now.
Hell yeah.
You know what I mean? Like,
Another thing you studied in college, right?
Yeah, I studied college,
yeah.
and it's just like, you know, I see the stats in our state government. There's like 8 people that aren't Republicans out of the whole damn thing.
Right.
And like, I see the threat. Shit. Yeah. Oh no! All right, last camera.
Last cam.
Right.
Sorry about the audio.
Last
y'all.
question. Let's go.
Where could the people find you at?
Where do people find me at? Probably here in the studio a lot.
I hope
I
so.
like hanging out with you guys.
Hell yeah.
Be doing some photo shoots here. You need some photos? Let me know. But yeah, online.
I like how we're still
usually.
talking into the mic,
Yeah.
even though.
Online usually. Online usually. Or, you know, once I get my vaccine, July, hit me up. I'm gonna start hosting some sessions. So.
Hell yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So, I think we're gonna have to do another episode with this guy because recording limits suck. And we keep getting distracted and
I'm already thinking of ideas to help
full memory
figure out
cards.
this solution. Yeah.
Like you said though, you're trying to find a place where you fit in. Like,
Yeah.
People here love you. So. All right, go follow this guy.
Yeah.
And if he's still looking for a job, which I don't think he will be when this episode comes out, fucking hire him.
Yay.
Thank you for watching.
Yeah,
Thank you for
boom.
being here, bro.
Thanks, Dennis. Oh, no.